Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, and as update 14.7 approaches, we are now starting to receive the first bits of information about update 14.8. Now, I wasn't really expecting a lot from 14.8 because, of course, 14.7 is kicking off the 10th anniversary event in Warships, in which, if you have been living under a rock, you can earn 32,000 doubloons or still for the 10th anniversary of the game. But it seems that, well, at least for testing in 14.8, we are getting a couple of new premium ships. One of these ships I'm pretty interested in, although a little confused by the timing, shall we say. And then the other one is just kind of like, huh? But let's go ahead and get on into it. The link to this devblog is in the description down below. So if you wish to read along as I read aloud, you can check out that link down there. I will be throwing any relevant images or artwork up on screen as we get to them. But again, I highly encourage you to check out the devblog for yourself. Link to that's down below. While you're down there, why don't you go ahead, drop a like, and leave a comment. It helps out tremendously so on the YouTube side of things. And subscribe to the channel for these news updates. I try to get these out the day after Wargaming releases these devblogs so that you guys get a speedy influx of news. But anyway, devblog is titled New Ships Close Tests 14.8. Hello, Captains. Today we're pleased to announce 2 more premium ships in the works, including one ship that we think some of you will be particularly happy to see, as she's a beloved ship that you can visit in real life. First up, Pan-American cruiser Comandante Aguirre, Tier 8. Yeah, I didn't know I could roll my R's, huh? The ship is named after the Peruvian national hero, Remigio Elias Aguirre Romero. I don't know if the Romero is supposed to be armed. I'm just being extra now. The second in command of the legendary ironclad Huiscar, who was killed in action during the naval battle of Angamos in October 1879. Since then, the name Comandante Aguirre was briefly borne by 2 Peruvian cruisers. Compared to her Dutch sister, Haarlem, Aguirre trades the signature Dutch airstrikes for truly heavy protection. With improved deck plating thickness that goes as high as 40 millimeters on top of her good belt armor and reinforced lower bow and aft armoring, Comandante Aguirre is a tough nut to crack, especially for a Tier 8 cruiser. In addition, she retains a solid AA capability typically found on the Dutch cruisers. The cherry on top of her defensive suite is access to a conventional repair party. That's pretty good. She also carries a choice of either Hydro or DFAA. You want to take Hydro, to aid both herself and her team avoiding torpedoes or air attacks. The firepower department is where Comandante Aguirre differs most from Haarlem. Her main battery of 9 203mm guns benefit from a regular cruiser dispersion formula, making her gunnery feel more consistent. Moreover, her armor-piercing shells are improved both in terms of their ricochet angles and penetration, making this ship a threat to any cruiser caught broadside and more heavily armored targets. However, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. While each AP shell is formidable, Comandante Aguirre suffers from poor maximum gun range and a slow reload for 203mm guns at her tier. This means you'll need to make your shots count when helming her. This can be somewhat mitigated through the use of her combat instructions, of course, which significantly improves her reload speed for a short period of time. It is charged by accumulating potential damage and destroying enemy ships, metrics that encourage you to go into positions to draw fire from your teammates, thus leveraging the ship's sturdy survivability. Kind of like that. In battle, Comandante Aguirre prefers low to medium range combat and firing her AP shells at broadside targets. In case things do not go as planned, you get caught in enemy fire, her heavy armor and solid HP pool make her one of the best cruisers for the situation. You can create space for your team and dish out some decent damage with the help of combat instructions, but be wary of overstaying your welcome. While the ship can take a punch, it's still a cruiser and with maneuverability on the lower side. Comandante Aguirre's model is not ready yet and will be revealed at a later date. Okay, so first off, the general idea behind this cruiser, I'm on board with, a well-armored, heavy cruiser with 230mm guns with combat instructions that get charged by you, tanking for your team. That's cool. I like that idea. However, Comandante Aguirre is a real-life ship. It's several real-life ships, as Wargaming noted here. None of them are this one. There's been 3 ships in the Peruvian Navy named Aguirre, and one of them was a D7 class cruiser. And that's what I thought when I originally got the pings that, hey, look, they're adding in the Aguirre. I thought, oh, okay, cool. We're getting another D7. That's cool. Real still historical ship. Always awesome when those guys come to the game. But that's not the case here. So this is the Harlem, which, as you may notice, is not a D7 Provincian class cruiser. So why? This doesn't make sense to me that you would burn Aguirre's name on this thing. And even like from like Wargaming's point of view, it's like, wait a second. We have the D7 model in game. We could make another D7, name it Aguirre. It's a real still historical ship, so win-win. But this Aguirre is not a real still historical ship. It's a made-up one. So that's odd. Now, granted, of course, they could just change the name, and that would fix that. 100% true. But it's just a little odd decision-making on Wargaming's side of things. But, yeah, I mean, I guess they're going from the point of view of if the Harlem was actually built and then sold to Peru, it probably would, be named Aguirre because it's a heavy cruiser with 230mm guns. So, sure, but yeah. The idea of the cruiser, the gameplay style, I like it. The parameters. Let's see, how slow are they reload on these 230mm guns? So, you get 46,600 HP on the Aguirre. Throw the combat flag. Yeah, the combat flag. The HP combat flag on there, and you can get that up a little bit more. 30-second fires. That's good. Main battery guns, 15.1 kilometers. Yeah, that's pretty short. And keep in mind, you can't take the reload or the range mod in the last slot because you are a tier 8. You don't get access to that yet. AP maximum damage 4,800, 925 meters a second initial velocity. That's pretty good. Woo boy, 18.5 second reload time. Holy crap! Dang, that's a lot. Y'all thought the Eugen was bad at what? 13 seconds, 18.5 seconds. Whoo! However, like I said, it's supposed to be accurate. You get 2.0 Sigma with cruiser dispersion. Okay, so the combat instructions. For every 1,000 HP of potential damage, you get 0.2% of your instruction bar filled. It's not that bad. Obviously, you get shot at by something like a battleship that's going to charge a good chunk of that bar pretty fast. And if you do sink an enemy ship, you get immediately you get the combat instructions. So, okay, 20-second activation time. 20-second action time. So for 20 seconds, you get a 70% buff to your reload. So that's pretty good. So you'll have, 70% of 18... Yeah, you'll have like a, 5-6 second reload, again, depending upon like adrenaline rush and stuff. And this is going to be a Pan-American cruiser, so you can put Joaquim on here, which of course makes these combat instructions even better with his skills and such. So, again... and you get repair party too. It's going to depend on the armor layout for me, honestly, because they say she has thicker armor. They say it's up to 40mm. Is it 40mm thicker? Deck plated, it goes as high as 40mm, which is pretty thick for a cruiser. So yeah, I'll have to see the armor once they get the model into the game and I can view it. That'll be my determining factor on if this is really going to work, in my opinion. But yeah, everything so far looks pretty good. Again, I like the idea behind this ship. I love all that. But just the naming is huh? So, yeah, okay. So, again, like the ship, a little confused on the naming practices here. Speaking of interesting decisions, and again, timing, the next new premium ship is the European destroyer, the Błyskawica 52. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting another Błyskawica within the same calendar year. Did we not just get the other Błyskawica not that long ago? I'm pretty sure at the beginning of this year, or definitely within a year of when this video comes out, we just got our second Błyskawica. But now we're getting a third one? Huh? That's, something. Does Wargaming owe Poland money? I mean, I like the Błyskawica. That's cool and all. I would have preferred they, buffer than release a second Błyskawica, but now they're releasing a third Błyskawica. So, yeah, and I know I'm probably saying the name wrong, but Polish is like Elvish to me, so yeah. You guys aren't here for the correct pronunciations. You guys know that. Alright, anyway. Ship's called Lightning anyway, so we're just going to call it the Lightning from here on out to save your ears and my vocal cords. Alright. The famous Polish Lightning returns and in a post-war refitted condition no less. Returned to Poland after the war, a Lightning served as a training vessel before replacing her British weaponry with its Soviet equivalents. She served in this form until a final refit in the 1960s, before becoming a museum ship, which you can visit today in Gdynia, replacing the previous preserved destroyer Orp Burza. In battle, Lightning 52 will perform as a sort of a hybrid between the French and European destroyers, combining good speed and agility with rapid-firing guns of relatively small size. Her firepower is dominated by her 8 100mm guns with improved HE pin similar to that found on the Akazuki branch of Japanese destroyers, allowing her HE shells to penetrate plating up to 30mm thick. That's great. Her torpedo power is limited as she carries a single triple launcher similar to Velos. They deal good damage but have lower speed than the usual European torpedoes and suffer from a long reload time. In terms of survivability, she has a relatively low HP pool, meaning you have to pick your fights. You do, however, benefit from two key elements. The first is improved saturation mechanics as on French destroyers. She will only take half damage in her midsection after a certain damage threshold is met. That's nuts. Oh, this is more nuts! The second is access to repair party, allowing you to recover between fights. What? That is insane! Her agility is good for her tier, having a good base top speed as well as engine boost consumable, allowing her to get to where she is needed quickly, as well as disengage when required. Lastly, like the European destroyer of the Gdansk line, Lightning 52 will also have a surveillance radar with a long range but short duration, enabling her to catch enemy ships for her own formidable armament and that of her teammates. However, unlike the Tech Tree branch ships, Błyskawica 52 lacks a smoke generator consumable, meaning there are fewer options to hide while taking advantage of her radar and firepower. While the ship can deal with any target and enjoy various benefits that are previously mentioned, you still need to choose your engagements wisely. Holy crap! That's insane. French damage saturation mechanics, a heal, guns with improved HE pin, and a radar? All on one tier 9? Holy crap! This thing sounds nuts. Now they did say she had a low HP pool. How low are we talking? Oh, that low. 16,200. Yeah, that's on the low side. Of course, you can take Survivability Expert and you can take the flag, so you can get it up a little bit further, but that is definitely on the low side for a ship that's like made to, just say, screw it, we ball, like the ship is clearly designed to do. So very much so, you're going to have to pick and choose your fights, because, yeah, you got the saturation mechanics, yeah, you got to heal, but if you get dogpiled and you get caught out in the open, you're not going to have a good time. So, yeah, okay, that's nuts. Alright, so again, she gets 100mm guns, 12.7 kilometer base firing range, 1400 maximum HE shell damage, 30mm of pin, 6% fire chance. So that 30mm of pin is huge, so that means you can, obviously deal with the destroyers. You can bully a lot of cruisers with that 30mm of pin, and if you really want to, you can take IFHE, get that easily up and over 32mm of pin, and now you're doing damage to everybody. What's the reload time? 3.8 seconds base, so yeah, that's pretty good. AP shell damage 1700, and the AP and HE shell velocity is both 1000 meters a second, so pretty comfortable there. 2.0 Sigma. Okay, that is crazy. Torpedoes. Oh, they weren't kidding. Good damage on the torps though. But you only get 3 of them. So you get 3 of the 533mm torps, 19,000 maximum damage, 10.5 kilometers. 66 knots, but a 2-minute reload time. So yeah, that's just going to be either, I'm going to try and torp rush this guy, or, you can kind of toss him in the general direction that you think there might be a destroyer or a ship coming down. Sure, but definitely not going to be your main source of income. 7.9 kilometer detect, so you take, the commander module and the skill. The commander module. You take the module and the skill. And get that down. Oh, man, what? 6, low 6-ish, maybe. But yeah, I mean, this is a gunboat, so yeah. Alright, consumable slots. So damage con, repair party, 14-second repair, 162 HP per second, and an 80-second reload time with 3 charges base. Of course, you can take the commander skill and you can get another charge out of that. So 14 seconds with 162 HP per second, 2200 HP per second. Of course, repairs are proportional to your HP. So again, you take the commander skill, you take the module, then you take the heal flag. You can get that up a little bit more. And you might be saying, well, it's only 2200 HP base. But like, look, I mean, the ship only has 16,000 HP base. So yeah, but like a heal and the fringe damage saturation, that's wild that you get that. 10-second surveillance radar, 9 kilometers. So more of a personal use radar like they mentioned, because you have the 6-second radar delay. So for 4 seconds, you'll be able to have the target spotted for yourself and for your team. There you go. And an engine boost, 180-second duration time, 2% buff to the speed, 90-second reload time, 3 charges base. So again, that's pretty wild right there. So this thing is nuts. I don't expect this to come out as is. This is probably going to get changed a little bit. For me, this screams this is going to be like a dockyard. It'll follow the pattern for the previous few dockyards where they've been copy-paste of the same class of ships, but, more modernized, or in the case of the Blucher, well, just base. So, yeah, this screams dockyard. I would put money on this being a dockyard ship. If it comes out like this is going to be a wild ship if it gets through testing with all this intact. But again, I suspect it's going to get shifted around a little bit because that's just crazy. I think it's either going to lose the heal or it's going to lose the fringe damage saturation. One of the two. If it loses the fringe damage saturation, it might get a little bump in its HP. But yeah, but that thing's wild. I want it. As long as it's not released in some ridiculous way. All right, some other bits of information. The Deutschland has been revealed. So the Deutschland had a different superstructure from the other Deutschland-class cruisers. They all had the Star Destroyer. The other ones had the Star Destroyer bridge. The Deutschland did not, and here she is in her beauty. Look at that. Nice and pretty. And she is the Tier 6 tech line ship in the upcoming German Panzerschiff line. So that's pretty cool. I like that. I really do. All right, and the previously announced ships, we now know their rarity. So the Sibir, the Soviet battleship Secondary Kremlin, it is an uncommon ship, so that means it's going to be released probably for just doubloons. The Optio, the Italian cruiser, which is a Tier 7, is going to be a rare ship, so coal ship. And the Japanese cruiser, the Kushiro, Tier 10, which I thought was going to be like a free ship, is rated as epic. So, dockyard, maybe? Perhaps? Which is one that I would not worry about getting. But yeah, it's going to be an epic, apparently. Alright guys, so that's it for this devblog today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Again, the Aguirre, I like the idea of the ship. I just don't get the name. I don't know why Wargaming would do that. Błyskawica 52, gonna be insane if it comes out as is. So, we'll see what happens with that. But guys, that is it for today's video. If you did enjoy, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. All that jazz helps up so much on the YouTube side of things. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a wonderful Thursday, wonderful rest of your week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.